Hi, I'm Madison. I am the Associate Editor at Phoenix Magazine, and I'm here with Spencer. You want to introduce yourself and tell us a little about Blue House?
Thanks, Madison. Yeah, I'm the head roaster over here at Blue House Coffee in the Garfield neighborhood in downtown Phoenix.
And today we are doing a cupping, aka coffee tasting.
Yeah.
Can you tell us a little bit about that process and what it's going to look like?
For sure. So coffee cupping is much akin to, sommeliers, how they judge wines. There's a set system so that they can blindly taste wines and judge it based off mouthfeel, body, sweetness, bitterness, all these different acidities. Score it and then come up with an overall score on the wine without knowing where it's from, this, that, and the other. And so this just is, roasters and coffee purveyors. We want to bring the best coffee to our community and roast with the best coffee. So we take it pretty seriously, but we're also probably one of the most laid back coffee cuppers. A lot of the times I don't think it's super fun for people that we have over to do cuppings with the sheets and stuff. I just like to be people's Sherpa on the guide of flavor for coffee. Normally this is, you'd have a similar setup. We're doing it outside, obviously, kind of social distancing, fresh air. But we like to just set up a few different coffees from different origins meaning just different countries. And the main point of that is just for people we have that come over is to try different coffees next to each other and just really see the huge differences that they all have. Really the goal for coffee cupping for people that we bring in is to just have them be able to taste different coffees next to each other. Because so often when you're drinking a cup of coffee, oh, it's good, but you don't really get to compare it with other things right off the bat. So it's just kind of fun to see the differences right off the bat. So that's kind of the main goal. Next is just gonna be pouring water over our grounds. And at this point, you can go around, and we call this the aroma. You don't get quite the pungent scent as you do when you crack. This is what we call a crust. It's almost like a souffle of coffee. And it's like a steeping process, much like a French press or something along that nature. And so it's brewing under those grounds. The biggest thing is just consistency, good water, right temperature, consistent grind. And then, these vessels are very inexpensive, but you could use something at home, some little ceramic cups or bowls. And, you want to do I always do a little bit more than the recommended. I go like 16 or 18 grams of coffee. Go to 206 degrees. And you let these steep for about 4 minutes, and then we'll crack them. And
they look like little creme brulees.
Exactly. Little caffeinated creme brulees, that's for sure. They recommend you don't touch your bowl. Okay. Your ramekin, it's usually at a certain height. There's always kind of specs. Ours is so laid back, it's laughable. We're ready to attack at this point. You take your spoon and you do want to do no more than 3 gentle pushes down. And then you can get your snoot in there at the same time, and it's gonna release a bunch of gas. You can kind of see it bubbling. And this is where you're really gonna get all the smells from it. And then we have on top is this kind of crema, much like an espresso. We want to take that off though, because it's an impurity, so some bitterness and stuff to it. So we just go from the top, and we just scoop that off with our spoon, like that. And then we take it. And the goal isn't to scoop out. We don't go too deep because we don't want to pull the grounds out, and we don't want to go pull the coffee out either. It's more or less just the foam. So it's kind of an art, but I'm not worried about it. It doesn't have to be perfect. This is the game time, so I'll just get into it, make a fool out of myself. I'm not afraid. See? And it aerates in your mouth like an aggressive wine drinker maybe. And you just get to really taste a bunch of different stuff. I mean, you don't have to do it that intense, but Oh yeah. There's gonna be people lined up. They hear the call. That's the cow, they're gonna come. If you slurp it, they will come.
So slurping is not only encouraged, it's mandatory.
It's strongly suggested to enjoy the coffee at its peak deliciousness. It's like when you're drinking wine, right? and you get past the first bottle, like myself, and you think to yourself, I don't know what I'm tasting. I'm just drinking wine, and I'm enjoying myself. The same thing with coffee. It's really hard sometimes to put a finger on, oh, that tastes like gooseberry or whatever. So something I like to turn people towards is just like paying attention to, is it bitter? Is it, what's the acidity like? Is it fruit? Is it, an unpleasant acidity, good acidity? Is it clean after you drink it? Is there a mouthfeel? And I mean that by, like, when you drink some of these coffees, you'll notice there's kind of a lingering feel, almost as like you're drinking some milk. Like there's a fattiness to the coffee, and they're all pretty different. So, think about that from like skim to whole milk. So just a few things for the viewers out there and for yourself to think about next time you're drinking a cup of coffee.
Yeah.
It's one of those things too where it's kind of hard to like imagine these things unless you have a taster's wheel in front of you. That's a pretty standard coffee tasting wheel that we have. Usually have it printed out, but we're having technical difficulties. Anyways, it kind of it guides us a little bit more on the quest to figure out what things taste like. We don't have a giant spice rack with all kinds of things to go smell and compare to. So when you're sipping, it's fun, for me at least. I like to sit with one coffee and just kind of keep slurping it and just look at the tasting wheel. And then, when you see strawberry or raspberry or dark chocolate or almond, they start to kind of click in your head, So it's kind of fun to have that comparison.
Okay, so we got floral, pepper, pungent. Does that say cereal?
Yeah, it's just kind of undercooked coffee beans. It usually happens in every roast. They get thrown out. But they have a very distinct cereal grass-like taste. Not pleasurable. So that would be a sign of an under-roasted coffee for people out there. If you're getting that kind of flavor in your coffee, certainly they could have gone a little bit longer. Cool.
Well, is it time to guess the taste?
Yeah, why not? Sure. Throw some flavor notes out. We have like little tasting cards with some of the cupping notes. So let's give it a go.
Okay.
Just first things that come to your mind. You don't have to get too crazy with it.
Like a chocolate covered berry.
Okay, yeah, that's wonderful.
Just throwing that out there.
No, I love it. I think that's actually dead on.
Okay.
And let's see what those are. So we got tangerine, hazelnut, and apricot for that natural coffee. But by and large, the number one tasting notes for that coffee is usually berry and chocolate. So you're dead on.
Nice.
There's no it has to be anything.
Yeah.
You're lucky if you taste one thing and you're like, that's grilled peaches, I taste it, That's very rare for people, so.
Where can we find Blue House Coffee? You mentioned Farmers Market.
For sure. So every Saturday, we are at farmers markets. We're at the downtown farmers market, uptown farmers market off Bethany and Central. We're also at the Old Town farmers market, the Roadrunner farmers market, which I think is off Cactus in the 51. But again, you can check this stuff out on our website, and we hope to get you some caffeination here. Enjoy some beans with us.
Well, cheers to great local coffee and community.
Cheers.